another episode of The Taste of Whiskey. It's a beautiful hot spring day today, really hot outside, but I thought it'd be a perfect day to enjoy a really nice whiskey, and this is the Lagavulin Nick Offerman Edition 11-year-old Scotch. Now Lagavulin is a single malt Islay Scotch, and it's a peated Scotch. So what that means is that they'll take peat moss, they'll cut it out from the ground, dry it out, and they'll smoke their barley to dry it during the malting process, and that smoke impregnates the barley with a nice smoky flavor. So when it gets distilled, all that smokiness gets into the whiskey, and it's a nice earthy mineral flavor. It's really not a taste for everyone. I mean it's more of an acquired taste. Coincidentally, the first time I had Lagavulin was the Lagavulin 16, which is their standard line that they produce, and it was at a friend's house years and years ago, and I actually thought it was disgusting. I remember nosing it and tasting it. I'm like, whoa, like this tastes like an ashtray. I mean, it was really interesting at the time, and I didn't like it, but the flavor grew on me, and the more I've had peated scotches, I actually love them now. I'm hooked, and sometimes I just crave a peated scotch because I just love that savory, smoky flavor, and they go great with meat dishes like steak or a nice pot roast or of some sort. But this is a special Lagavulin. This is the second edition of the Nick Offerman line. Now, if you don't know who Nick Offerman is, well, whose fault is that? You may know him most famously from the show Parks and Rec, where his character, Ron Swanson, loves Lagavulin on the show, but of course Nick Offerman loves Lagavulin in real life as well. Now, this edition was made in commemoration of Father's Day for his father, Rick. This is finished in Guinness beer casks for a minimum of 4 months, and it's really different. And let's open this up here. Now, I don't know of a lot of whiskeys finished in beer casks. I know that there's some Irish whiskeys that do, like Jameson has like an IPA finish, and they might do something else. But I haven't had an Islay that was finished in a beer cask yet. You know, it's a beautiful bottle, beautiful artwork on it of him and his father on a boat fishing. This is a bottle of 46% alcohol. Now, typically Lagavulin is really smoky. I mean, like really, really smoky stuff. It's one of the most intense Islas on the market. But this one's a lot different. You do get the smoke right off the bat, but it's a lot less intense than their standard 16-year-old. A little bit sweeter, a little bit more. I mean, you can really smell that Guinness beer on it. It's very slight though. Just smells like creamy and sweet, like more like dessert-like. Wow. Yeah, the taste. Taste is something else. The smoke is still there, but it's really subdued. I think this is much more drinkable Islay compared to other things out there because it's a lot less intense in the smoke. But there's just this beautiful, sweet cream cookie type of flavor that comes out of it from the Guinness cask. This toffee note, this caramel. It's really different from other Islas I've had. It really makes a big difference being in that beer cask. It really made this more dessert-like instead of savory, which a lot of Islay scotches are. They're really smoky and savory, salty. But this is on the opposite side of the spectrum. Yeah, I don't really get a lot of savory notes. Again, it's more on the sweet side. It's kind of like a smoked chocolate caramel cake almost. It's beautiful, very drinkable. nice oily texture to it. I mean, Lagavulin's always been a high quality Scotch whiskey. I'll wait for this truck to pass. But this is just a beautiful addition that Lagavulin came out with. I'm glad Nick Offerman worked with them to make this edition, especially for a commemoration. Ugh, I can't talk today, but for Father's Day. Now, like I mentioned before, this is the second edition of Nick Offerman. So here I have the first edition that they came out with. Now, both of these are a limited edition. Now, this was the first one that came out, and the difference between this one and this one is that this was aged with rejuvenated wood. And what that means is a lot of Scotch companies will typically buy ex-bourbon barrels from the United States, because in the United States you can only use a charred white oak barrel once to make bourbon. So they'll sell them to Scotland or Ireland or wherever, and they'll reuse them to age their whiskeys. Now, when that char in the barrel gets too exhausted to put enough flavor into the whiskey, they'll rejuvenate it by scraping out the old char and re-charring it, or possibly replacing a stave if they have to. But so this is made with rejuvenated oak, and this one's a lot different from the Guinness finish one. Oh, the heat's kind of making my bottle sweat today. The labels are kind of peeling off. So let's give this one a nose. Yeah, it's a lot different. Right away there's more of like a salty brine to it. More of like a black pepper note to it. A little bit more dry, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, this smells like chocolate cake compared to the original version. This is you know, oddly enough, I kind of get a little bit more smoke out of the Guinness cask, but the character is completely different than this. It's again, the best way I could describe it, it's more like a dessert type of smoke. It's like a smoked chocolate cake. I mean, I'm sure that would be amazing to have anyway, but completely different. Let's give this one a taste. A lot closer to that classic Lagavulin taste, but the rejuvenated oak kind of gives it more caramel character, kind of, you know, more on the bourbony side of the spectrum, but it's still smoky, still classic Lagavulin. It's very good. This one, on the other hand, like that beer cask, it just really changed it. It's really unique. Yeah, that's beautiful. A lot sweeter, more toffee, a little bit more chocolatey. This one's a little bit more on the dry side, a little bit more savory smoke, like that classic Peter Dyla. They're both excellent Scotch whiskeys. Again, these are both limited edition. If you can't find this one anymore, I highly recommend you pick up this, but if you do see this, I recommend you grab it too, because I'm sure they're probably not producing this anymore. But both of these scotches are absolutely beautiful, and the Guinness cask is something really unique, and I hope that they come out with a third Nick Offerman edition. Well, thank you for joining me on this episode of The Taste of Whiskey. Please join me next time for another excellent dram. Cheers to you.